The Air Force radar controller was doing his usual job. Due to the overnight job, he was a little tired. Suddenly, he saw something on the radar screen that turned his tiredness upside down. A flight disappeared from the radar at the Columbia Airport office. A small flight, Cessna 208 Caravan both, was that. Both pilots are on fire. The only engine on the flight is fault, and there is no flat ground for emergency landing. The flight is above a terrifying forest. The officer informed the higher officials and also started searching for the plane. They started seceding in 2 helicopters from the place where they lost the flight's signal last. At that time, in the Air Force office, they started to collect more information about the flight. They checked the flight plan and had a conversation with the families and friends of the passengers. They also started to find out how the flight disappeared from the radar. There will be only 3 reasons. But even though they cannot find a clear answer, while the search is going on, they can't find the reason for the disappearance. Mom and 4 children were the passengers in it, and the pilots told them the problem. All of their heartbeats are rising at the same speed. That's sure it won't be a terrorist attack because it is a private jet and there will be limited passengers. The chance is low that it would be the fault of the pilots because they were highly experienced pilots, and they fixed the last possibility. 1 mom and 4 children were on the flight. The children's ages were lower than they expected, and they started their job immediately. They were a 6-member crew. They are going to the corner of the Calcutta-Apaporis River on the Amazon. That place is densely forested, and you should be aware of dangerous wild animals. They searched the forest for days. That was one night, and a screaming noise came into their ears. That was from one of them. He was calling. All of them ran into the sound. While they were getting closer, a bad smell rushed into their noses. By getting halfway, they started to understand the thing. That was 3 dead bodies rotting. With that smell, the question rose in their minds. What happened to the children? At that time, forensics came to the crime scene. Both pilots and the mother were dead in the accident, but the children's blood was not found. There was a chance that they would be alive, and the cops started searching. They got nothing from nearby. There was no improvement in the case. By the days passing, their fate was decreasing, and they didn't know what to do next. The children have a grandmother named Maria Fatima, who is 63 years old. She was living in a place that had no connection to the outer world. They should travel in the boat for 3 hours and walk for 3 hours, and only then can they get to the highway. That place is called Araraquara. Their grandchildren also grew up in this circumstance. The elder one was Leslie. Even at a young age, she learned to walk in the wild and knew what to eat in the forest. She also learned how to catch fish, which was noticed by the grandmother. To find Leslie, they formed a new operation. 160 soldiers, 70 tribes, and 10 dogs were also on the team. They started searching by using helicopters and planes. Days passed, and there was no improvement in the search. They got something that the children used, but that didn't help trace them. They don't understand what's wrong, so they think, what if they don't know that we are trying to rescue them? And what if they were hiding from us? How will we inform them that we are not their enemies? Meanwhile, they got the idea that children are attracted more after their mother is their grandma. If the children know that grandma is with us, they'll return. A group of police went to the children's grandmother. The next day, they bought a loudspeaker with them and played the grandmother's voice all over the forest. Days passed, and there was no response from the children. However, they tried, but they couldn't reach them. Why is that so? They doubted. Maybe we are not searching in the right place? I mean, what if they are traveling? That thought made them think. They calculated how much distance children could travel in a day. They split into 4 teams and moved in 4 directions. 6 kilometers in radius. From there, 6 became 8. Likewise, every 6 kilometers, they split and covered more area, which means that in every 6 kilometers, people in the group are decreasing. They don't know that they have become part of history's most complicated mission in the world. They can do this mission until they become one alone. Among them, one team was 116 kilometers away from the crime scene, when suddenly they heard a voice that's familiar, but they don't understand what's that. They waited to hear that one more time, but after a long time, nothing was heard. Yes, that's the sound of a human baby. They started following the sound. Only when the child makes the sound are they able to move. They followed them, and finally, their mission was completed. 4 children were sitting in front of them. A young child stopped crying. 41 days of their effort came to an end. It became the greatest rescue mission in history.